Hey guys, welcome back to Tech Talks, and today we're gonna look at how you can make your own .exe application for a Windows PC with Python. And for this we're using the Tkinter framework or the module, and it's really simple and easy to understand, and absolutely anyone can learn Python with this. So for this project I'm going to be using the PyCharm IDE, and I've already created up a new project over here, new file. So you're going to do that, and once you've done that you're going to have a screen like this, except for this name can be different. So what you want to do right now is basically start a new workspace or start a new project. So all you have to do is right click on the name of your project, and you're gonna have the drop down list, and all you have to do is click on new and come to Python file, and let's give it a name. So I'm gonna name it app.py. Okay, cool. So now you notice that I have an app.py and a ready workspace. So I'm just gonna go and click on this project right here, and here we go, we have a full screen. Just remove this. Alright, so first things first, what you want to do is basically import the Tkinter module. So from Tkinter import, and you want to put star. Okay, now you notice it's grayed out. So things are usually grayed out when they're either in not use or you can't select them, and I'll show you how that gets highlighted back again in a while. Alright, so next thing what you want to do is basically, let's give it a name. So I'm going to name it root. You could change the name to anything such as window or whatever you like. So I'm going to name it as root equals capital T, and there we go. And you notice that from Tkinter import highlights up. That means it's now being used. So what I'm going to do is quickly just root dot main loop. There we go. Alright, so now we have successfully created up a window. Let me show you how, and let's run it, and there we go. So you notice that we now have a window, and its name is TK right over here. It's resizable, so you can change that, but let's make some modifications. So what I'm going to do right now is add a title first. So we're going to make it root.title, and let's think of a name. So what I'm going to do is my first app. Okay, and before we move further, I'm just going to resize our window. So we're going to use the root.geometry, and then let's give it a size. So let's assume 400 into 400. So you're going to put an X and not the star symbol, which is usually the multiplication. And now let's run our app. Boom. So you now notice we have a resized window, and we also have the name called my first app. Let's try and check the resized window again, and there we go, we now have a bigger sized window. I'm just gonna go and leave it at 400. Okay, so next up, what we usually see in apps are text, we see labels, we see buttons, we see entry boxes. So now we're going to look at how we can make those. So first thing you want to do is let's make a label. So I'm going to name it L1 equals label with a capital L, and I'm going to choose root because I want the label to appear on the root page. And let's give a text. Let's assume hello. There we go, and all you want to do is L1.pack. So let's run that, and there we go, it says hello right over here. I'm gonna go and close this, and every time I close the app, you notice it says process finished with exit code 0, and this usually shows up in Python when the process is over, or in PyCharm at least. So what I'm gonna do next is let's add a button. So b1 equals button, and root with text equals click me. Okay, and b1 dot back. We don't want to debug it, we want to run it. So there we go, we have a button which you can click but nothing happens. I know nothing happens. And let's go ahead and now let's try up something new or different. So let's try to modify the label. So what I'm gonna do is come down to L1 dot place. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is x equals, let's give x a position. So 0 starts up from the sides, of course the extreme sides, and it doesn't go away or out of the range of the app. So let's try to make it 100, and let's make y 200. Let's just assume. So let's notice how the placement goes, and there you go, you notice the hello right here. So the x being 100 and y being 200, this is the location we get in our app of 400 into 400 size. So now what's next? So let's close it and let's try to give it a good little place. So I'm gonna go ahead and make it 150 and change this to 150. Alright, so it's somewhere in the middle-ish, you can say. So I'm gonna keep it up there, or what I'm gonna do is just back it. Okay, there we go. You can go ahead and try to modify and get different sizes and stuff. So next up also you can do is add foreground. So equals, let's say blue, and there we go. You notice the text is blue in color. Now what if you actually want to highlight it? So what you're gonna do is bg equals, let me say yellow, and now let's run it, and there we go. So as you guys did notice that we can now give a foreground and a background to our label. You could try out stuff like that with the buttons, but whatever, let's try to move on. What I'm gonna do next is add an entry box, and in very short while you'll see what an entry box is. So we don't really have to give a text for the entry box, and e1.back. So before we go any further, I would like to let you know what an entry back is, or an entry thing is. So it's basically a text box where you enter your text and stuff. Let's take a good look at it, and there we go. We now have a look over here, and you can type out anything you want, and that's how cool it is. So what do you think we should be doing next? Let's try to add some commands to our button. So what I'm gonna do is quickly come down to, let's define a new command. So what do you want your new command to be? Let me name my new command p1_cmd. I'm gonna give this sign, and you notice now everything is under the b1 command. Okay, so the b1 command is a command for our button number 1, and that's the only button, of course. So what command do you think we should be giving? Of course, yes. So from taken, let's do this, import Tkinter dot message box. Okay, that's cool. So we now have import Tkinter dot message box, and you'll see how it helps us quickly in a short while. So next thing that you want to, okay, we did forget one thing. There we go. Alright, so what you're gonna do is Tkinter dot message box, and you notice that our message box, import Tkinter message box, highlights up. So let's go and do this. So you want to show error, or you want to show some info. So I'm going to show info, and the first text you're going to add in the little single quotation marks is more like the title for the new page. So what I'm going to do is page 2, right, you're going to put a comma, and hello, this is the second page. Alright, and you want to come down to button, and at the last you want to click on command, or you want to type in command equals, and all you want to do is b1 underscore cmd without these brackets, and you don't have to put quotation marks. And if you don't have to put the brackets, because if you're going to put the brackets, then the program's going to automatically load into this part right over here. Alright, so let's run it, and there we go. So let's go ahead and click on it, and there you see, notice this, we now have a page 2 as we did have over here. This is what was planned. So click on OK and it goes. So you can do the same thing. So this was a little bit of basic introduction to our Tkinter, and I'll meet you with the next intro or the next tutorial from the next Tkinter module. Peace for now, and make sure to like, subscribe and share. Thank you and goodbye.